Hello, everybody. It is Thursday, January 5th, 2023. I'm not going to mess up like I did yesterday and say the wrong year again now. But yeah, it is 2023, Thursday, January 5th, and the big news story broke this morning that WWE is returning to the United Kingdom after a successful pay-per-view with Clash at the Castle last September. Of course, Kobe Galanzowski called this as his prediction for 2023 on the podcast the other day, and it's now come true. Just a couple of days into 2023, they have confirmed that they're going to be coming back, and they're going to be coming back July 1st for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view this time. And of course, in the promo announcing it on social media, our very own Chaos showed up in it.
Yeah, baby.
Kobe's 2 for 2, by the way. He spotted that too.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, my number one fan, Soul, spotted that. I must say, just for the record now, since I'm actually on the I'm actually was chosen for the WWE package, I am actually now officially better than all of you. I would like to have more leverage in the YouTube channel now, and yeah, thank you very much. The fact that all of us was there, and it chose me. So,
true that.
Oh yeah,
true that.
You know,
it was so funny. Right? Me and Soul were like, we got our tickets separately, and we were like 10 seats from each other, like on basically the same section. It was crazy, but yeah, no, it's and here's Soul saying, "Oh
yeah, speak of the devil,
feuds continuing between you two."
Not big ass forehead, big ass haircut. That's why I have the Fresh Prince going on. Don't hate. Your hair took the whole row, Soul, and they still didn't vote with your hair. So, like, you know, what does that say? You know.
Oh gosh, yeah. Right. Anyway, they're returning.
At least you guys have hair, by the way.
I was wondering why you always see you with always a cap on.
Come on, guys. It ages me 15 years.
No, I'm telling you guys, one day Clark's gonna take that hat off and he's gonna have hair. I'm telling you.
I am.
Are you gonna hear us?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
It's
not a prediction, it's a spoiler, right? But yeah, anyway, it's big news. They're coming back to the UK a lot earlier than a lot of us expected.
100%.
What do you think, Chaos? Are you excited for this?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like obviously we got the fact that we got a unique first time ever pay-per-view on the UK shore, and it was a success. The fact that we got one of now it's not even a big four anymore. It's not a big five. They've officially recognized it as the big five. One of the big pay-per-views over here. Definitely genuinely excited. It couldn't be a better pay-per-view. Obviously, you know, maybe they're testing the waters for maybe Mania next. But one thing I am disappointed though. Good as in the UK. I am surprised they're doing it in the O2. Like, you know, considering how big the Principality Stadium was. And they in my opinion, even though the O2 is a landmark venue, they could have, I think in my opinion, they could have went a bit bigger. They probably could have done Wembley. That would have been freaking awesome. I mean, Wembley for Money in the Bank would have been just as good. But that's what I think. But anyway, I'm definitely excited. Can't wait to enjoy the long ticket queues. And the stress of getting tickets for that. So yeah,
it's gonna be crazy. I know why they didn't go Wembley last time, and the reason is because of the weather issues. So that's probably the same concern they have now, which is why they've decided to go. Their thought process probably is, okay, we can't sell out 60,000 in Wales again because we don't think that many people are going to travel down just a year later for the same thing. I guess that was their thought process. Their thought was the next best thing we can possibly do is the O2, which is 20,000. However, they sold over 20,000 on the first day last year for Clash. And I'm going to be honest, I actually think there's more demand for this event, considering 100%. It's in London and it's Money in the Bank. These 20,000 might, they honestly could sell out within minutes. Like it's gonna be really tough to get tickets for. I'd say maybe the toughest WWE show to get tickets for in a long time.
Yep.
I mean, it's all out. All out 2019 levels almost. What are your thoughts, Clark, on and you're considering coming over here for the event?
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I've needed an excuse for a fun UK trip to come see you guys for a long time and hang out and watch some wrestling, and this is a perfect one. I'm stoked that it's Money in the Bank too. I think a UK crowd on those two ladder matches is, come on. The concentrated sound on the indoor venue too, I'm not upset about either. As much as Wembley makes sense, as much as the ticket demand, you could do it in a larger venue. There is something about that setting of like, I've been to a couple of the all outs, and now arena's only 11,000 seats, but that concentrated sound right on top of the ring, there's something to that. I dig the slightly small. To call 20,000 a small venue is right. It's like calling Crypto Arena and Staples Center in LA a small venue, or it's bigger than Madison Square Garden, right? As far as capacity. At the end of the day, the fact that it's a tough ticket, I would expect nothing less, but I'm going to do everything in my power to be over there and hang with you guys, because what would be more fun than an O2 Arena, show with 2 Money in the Bank matches, maybe a potential title match, and I am fired up about the whole thing, no doubt.
I'm so pumped.
But I do totally hear you guys.
Quick question to you. I just wonder, do you think the hype would be just as what do you think the hype for it would be just as big if Vince was under control still, or is the hype even more so because it's under Papa H?
That is honestly such a good question. That's a really hard one to quantify, because I also think that the hype about Clash, had it been not around the timing of the Triple H takeover, right? That was the second pay-per-view after Triple H took over at SummerSlam.
It was his first one in full control.
May not have been quite the same, but the passion from the UK crowd that you get, I think by nature of the geography and also the lack of shows through not just COVID, but also the weird extended time off.
Yeah.
I think we'd be splitting hairs on the excitement anyway. I think just the fact that it's a flagship type pay-per-view, not that Clash at the Castle wasn't, right? It's Clash of the Champions kind of ish, but they named it Clash. Not that that's not one of the flagship. They treated it as such with the venue and stuff, but I do like the idea of, I think Money in the Bank, they're kind of working towards it being one of the big four. Not that it's replaced.
They've been trying for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I think that part of it is, whether it was Vince or Triple H, the fact that it's that pay-per-view would have made it a similarly big deal. I don't know. Yeah, I think the answer is, I do think slightly, because Triple H is in charge, it nudges the needle further for demand and excitement. But I also think if Vince was still in charge and they'd have done this, we'd be really excited about it. So it's hard to,
No, I think basically, internationally, the hype for it internationally was probably more because Vince had gone. But in the UK, I think it would have done the exact same ticket sales if Vince was even still here, because I think it was just, the fact that they're coming, the WWE are doing a pay-per-view or premium live event in the UK for the first time in 30 years. And Jacob here saying hair reveal at 1K subs, Clark.
Yeah, we could do that. That's fine. Yeah, it's actually not as bad as you think. It's just going.
Soul here saying Drew needs to win something, Money in the Bank, to wrong the sadness of Clash. He needs to win the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Drew. No, I don't know about winning Money in the Bank, but Drew needs to win something big. Sheamus, Finn, needs to, obviously with Judgment Day, will need to do something. And obviously they're getting a huge push. Who else is English? But the biggest star really,
Ridge Holland, I guess. Ridge Holland, and then Pete Dunne, Butch. I agree with you on that. They're not right now, but maybe by then, hopefully, as kind of what I'm thinking.
Like maybe they might win like a tag team match, him and Pete Dunne.
Something like that, just to get them involved.
They are a fun tag team as well. But I mean, I still think we need to give McIntyre the big title again. Like I know he won it during the pandemic, but he's not won it. Am I wrong in saying he's not won it in front of a crowd? He's not.
Yeah, he didn't win it. He didn't win it in front of a crowd, and he has. And during his whole reign, he wasn't in front of. He was in front of virtual people in the Zoom meeting. That's what he was in front of.
So it'd be nice if he did have a big moment to win the big one, and I think that would be in the UK as well. I think that would be huge. And by then, who knows if the title's on Roman or not? I mean, one of them probably will still be, but the other one.
Knowing them, he probably, if not the big title, he probably will get maybe the IC title or something. He might be the one to take off Gunther. I can imagine that you know, I don't think I really still don't think that he's anywhere close to being a potential threat or potential contender, especially during Reigns' reign. That Drew McIntyre is going to get another shot at it probably afterwards. But yeah, I would say probably if not the title, then definitely the IC title for Drew.
Yeah, and I mean it's rumored that they're adding a World Championship to Raw soon. So I mean it could be that one which McIntyre goes for.
I will say though, Chaos. Not that I disagree with you at all. Like I feel bad actually for Drew, the way that I feel like he's been lost in the shuffle a touch since his initial reign during the pandemic. But at the same time, do you think that I mean, he may have had the best match of anybody that challenged Reigns, and it was the non-title match at Survivor Series in front of no crowd. He may have wrestled him maybe the last person we saw him take Reigns to the brink. And could they revive that storyline? Because that's the only way I could see Drew in a sense. I mean, Drew would have to build to that level again somehow, right? Maybe a winning streak, something of that sort. But to bring that little plot hole up, I mean, he had him beat. Right? He was the only one I can really think of off the top of my head in this whole stretch that really looked like he had Reigns beat there for a minute. And I that's the only reason I think it is possible. But to your point, he's lost so much juice, and I don't really know how. I don't get it. That's the part to me where I get lost.
It's because he was put in mid-card feuds. Like after that match where he had Karrion Kross.
Yep.
And what?
And that's it.
You know, and then just constantly feuding with the Usos it just lost a lot of momentum. He needs a lot to come back. Maybe have a good showing at Rumble, a very good showing, and then just take it for them. Obviously, probably put him in the Money in the Bank match eventually, but. Yeah, I just don't feel like he's the next guy or the next again to then if it wasn't McIntyre, then definitely Lesnar obviously took the reins to his limit, especially in the last
right
match. But yeah, it will take some time. They have to start all over again, I'd say.
Yeah, no, they totally do, and I mean they do have quite a few months to be fair, so they have until they have 6 months to 6-7 months sorted out. But it's exciting, and it's already getting us talking, the UK event. And I think now this is what they're going to do. I think they're going to do more pay-per-views. And I don't necessarily even think they're going to be country-themed pay-per-views, but they're going to do more, normal calendar pay-per-views abroad. I think that's how they're going to do it because they sell better.
Yes.
They earn way, way more from merchandise sales.
Yes.
And it increases, that's like the event last year, Clash at the Castle, was on, not free British television, but it was on BT Sport for free, so you didn't have to pay. It wasn't the pay-per-view or anything like that. So a lot more people saw that pay-per-view than they would normally. So it definitely doing these international pay-per-views is definitely beneficial for WWE and their to expand their business internationally.
Which confuses the hell out of me in terms of why did it take Vince so long? He just wanted to see how much he could get at once, and then that was it. Which e.g. the Crown Jewel, the Saudi Arabia shows. But for some reason, the most he could do for the UK for quite a few years was just feed us random crappy, non-relevant house shows. I mean, what good does that do? I mean, before they used to come and do one random episode of Raw in the O2 and then SmackDown at Manchester or vice versa. And it just really didn't. And now Triple H, well, I assume he's had a hand in this.
It's mainly Nick Khan and Stephanie.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. But I mean, it's just crazy how it took them so long to realize, we can make a lot of bank out of people, and we are the most passionate fan base, and appreciate it more than the U.S. crowds.
Almost anybody, right? So consistently,
it's crazy. It took so long.
No, it is crazy, but. I mean, Nick Khan, when he first came in, that was one of the points that he wanted to expand WWE internationally. And Triple H, of course, had a separate idea because he wanted to expand internationally by doing NXT internationally.
Yes.
And then they abandoned that idea. Vince abandoned that idea to go with Nick Khan's idea. And now Nick Khan and Triple H are working together with Stephanie. They're going with both of the ideas, so expanding NXT internationally and the main roster internationally. And I think they're going to earn a lot of money doing it. I'm still a bit unsure about some of the NXTs, but we'll get to that when they are, announced in due course. Now,
wait a minute, 1 second. Yeah. I wonder if, to Chaos, you brought something up that was kind of interesting. Sorry, not to cut you off, but about why it took so long. And I wonder, for some reason, just light bulb on me. And I don't want to start like some sort of conspiracy here, but I wonder if, remember the plane ride from hell was on the back end of a UK tour?
Yeah.
I wonder if they were so scorned by that
They
that
continued
Vince
the UK
went
tours,
and
though.
got, I know they did, but right, they kind of scaled them back progressively after that because they were doing much larger UK tours at that point. And I'm wondering if that was I'm sorry, I was just trying to think because I'm like, gosh, that doesn't make any sense.
That
Now,
is
why
coincidental.
would it take him so long? And that was the only thing that came to mind. I was like, that was the end of the UK tour, was it? Right there.
Yeah, after that there was no more insurrection, rebellion, all that kind of stuff.
Right. I wonder if that was, I don't want to make
probably
that's
that might have
but I just thought of that. I'm sorry, and I had to get it out because I was like,
yeah,
I think it's interesting to think about that. I wonder if that's why.
Officially, it's because of the cost of equipment. That's what Vince said. He said that the LED boards are a big thing, which was spoken about.
3 drink carts.
And then it's like, well, you could just get LED boards in the UK. But anyway, because we don't actually know.
Yeah.
But we know the quarter earnings. We don't actually know exactly how much they spent for the event.
They make
how much
bank.
they earned.
But
they definitely made a profit. But perhaps one of the reasons they're coming back is they have a lot of their equipment over here still as well. So perhaps that's another thing that it just makes sense logistically for them to do more events here now. And of course, they got stuff from NXT UK as well. But now let's move on to the other company, All Elite Wrestling, who of course will rebranded last night. The new rebrand of AEW Dynamite. And honestly, it didn't feel as different in a lot of ways as a lot of people thought it would be. But
the WWE light.
Yeah. It did. It looked like the old SmackDown from like a couple of years ago, the SmackDown arena almost. But it looked really clean. The new graphics and the new LED boards, they do look really nice. But then as soon as you take away from the stage, it's basically the exact same as it normally is. In the first match, for the first 5 minutes, during the entrances in the first 5 minutes of Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho, there was a lot more camera angle changes than usual, camera cuts. But after those 5 minutes, they went back to basically normal, apart from this at times showed a couple of different camera angles. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of felt almost underwhelmed with the change, despite the fact that it does look clean. What did you think, Clark?
So I agree with you totally on. You could clearly tell on the first entrance, the initial camera cuts. I think that they must have a larger camera crew ringside. I'd be interested. I'm going on Wednesday. I'll be able to report back on that one. Nice. After Dynamite, right? Like, I was aware of how many cameramen were running around the ring the last few times I've been. And so if I would imagine it's got to be more with the amount of cuts, and there may be a little, I did feel like it appeared that they still had the crank as well as the hard camera, which was the same as before. I thought the stage was fascinating. It looked very much old school. That's where you said the WWE thing, but did notice, even though they got rid of the tunnels, there's still the heel side and the babyface side when they walk out. And I appreciate keeping that. I thought, as much as I hear where you're coming from on underwhelming, I actually thought if you're going to rebrand with a hardcore fan base and a market like they have, it was a tasteful way to do so because there was enough of the old and there was some of the new. And so for the average AEW fan, it wasn't too big of an adjustment, but there was nothing that you went, gosh, why are they doing that? It's overboard, which I think would have been an easy place to fall into had they gone even more extreme last night, right? That might be the conversation we were having today.
Yeah.
And so I will say, to their credit, they did a good job of, it's still familiar, everything that's going on. Now on the during match, kind of abandoning the camera cuts thing, I'm in total agreement with you on that, Ben. That I noticed as well, right? It was the first match, camera cut, and then somebody backstage was like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
And the rest of the show, it wasn't the same. I liked the color scheme is so not that drastic to me.
No.
It's not. I like that they kept the black ropes and black turnbuckles the way they had before. It looks a little bit more gritty and old school aesthetic than necessarily like a WWE ring, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I like both. Right, but just I like that they kept that aspect. I like that they kept commentary away from ringside.
Yeah, and the new commentary desk looks sick as well.
The new desk, I think, I was that was where I was going next. I'm like, I thought that was almost the highlight of it. The new desk looks really cool, and the way that even MJF, when he was kind of like hightailing it away from Brian, went over to talk to Taz by the desk, and they really gave you that good shot of it. I thought that was one of the highlights of the first show under the rebrand.
Yeah.
I also think I've almost never seen a rebrand where like publicly the immediate perception is overwhelmingly positive. It's always going to take a few weeks to work out all of the stuff. You'll get compliments about things, but people don't necessarily love major changes.
Yeah.
And I thought they navigated that about the best they could. That would be
I mean, I will say this, to be fair, there was a lot of people on social media saying that it was like Chaos joke, like WWE liked their stage and that.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I mean, is it's not overwhelming normally that you would get a positive response when you change stuff like that, right? Right out of the gates. Usually it takes a few weeks and it's like, oh, I actually like this. Now that I've watched it a few weeks. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was, the product is so not really changed from a wrestling perspective, other than the few camera cuts, the stage, the commentary desk. It's not all that different, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But I mean, TBS apparently did want it to be like changed to increase viewership. I don't really know if this like stage alone is really bringing in, in much more of a viewership, to be honest. I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a change.
I have a hard time
seeing
those as linked.
Here's the thing, though. As soon as you get the halfway through the ramp stops, it looks the exact same as it did before, apart from a couple of camera angles. So surely they should have, maybe I agree with you that I like the ring the way it is, but maybe they should have gotten rid of the barricade and made it maybe a bit more similar to WWE's, not like a big LED thing, but not as thick as that, but a thinner version or something like that,
as opposed to a guardrail, like an actual barricade. That would actually make a lot of sense. And you could do that just in all plain black, and it would fit the aesthetic too. I really like that idea, Ben.
Yeah, no, I think that I think visually you still got the same the thing of it. We've been looking at like the same thing for years, for the last 3 years. So I if that was TBS's issue, I don't think this has resolved it at all, if I'm being honest. What did you think, Chaos?
Since you've obviously dropped this, if this is what TBS networks executives are thinking, then clearly they are obviously detached from the product. To think that there's a simple LED fest will obviously will change things. Like I said, it was very WWE light. I kind of miss. I in a way I do understand also the reason why they changed it, simply because obviously the old entrance Primo still has. Even though he's gone, it still has that Cody Rhodes stench on it, because he's the one that made it iconic, more about him. And obviously, the old regime kind of thing, not old regime, but obviously the stuff with a certain CM. But yeah, I felt they could have done a bit more, something more memorable. The commentary booth, sure, that was cool, but seeing that just reminded me as if I'm watching ESPN, seeing three guys be journalists on the table. But yeah, it was cool for what it was. I do wonder how, the one thing I did like about the other setup is because you see all the Young Bucks, Lucha Bros using that the certain panels and stuff. I don't see them actually anyone using the stage like that, because it's just that sure they're coming out from different angles and whatnot, or like there's a face and a heel tunnel. But yeah, it just looks too simplified. It just reminds me of WWE, and I totally agree. As soon as it come down the ramp, it's just same old Dynamite. They could have done something. I understand maybe they didn't want to go through the same guardrails or the barricades like WWE does, because obviously everyone's going to be saying, "Oh, is it trying to be like WWE?" So, but yeah, I feel like they could have done something a bit better to make it sound like, because they were hyping it up like as if it was going to be like there's a huge facelift, and all we got was just plain LED boards just to simplify things and make less effort for them. I don't know. It's cool. I'll get used to it eventually. But yeah, that's my rant over.
Yeah, no, I mean the one big production, one production thing, which the other production thing which we noticed last night was, of course, the microphone
Oh,
issue
Jesus Christ. I feel
during
bad for Mox. He has
yeah.
the problem with it all the time.
Basically, Hangman and John Moxley came out to do a promo segment. Moxley, the crowd couldn't hear him on the mic, apart from everybody at home could hear him. The crowd were chanting, "We can't hear you." He thought, okay, well, nobody can hear me. Starts swearing in the mic. Fight didn't manage to beep it. We know they'd managed to beep it in Canada. I don't know about the US. I presume they did, to be honest. I presume TPS would have believed it. But yeah, it was just that entire segment, right? And it wasn't helped by that, but it just felt too long. It felt a bit too scripted almost. And again, John Moxley did say the same thing 4 times, sorry.
Yeah, that's what made him. Yeah.
But it seemed so scripted. It seemed too long. And I mean, I'm usually a fan of promo segments. I'm not usually one of the people who's complaining about them. But this one really, really was the low point of the episode for me. What did you think, Chaos?
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely what took me out of it was the repeatedness of the first couple lines, and just the mic stuff wasn't happening. Because it was just funny how the mic was fine before, and then as soon as he gets on, it just completely messed everything up. But yeah, it definitely took me out of it. They kind of brought it up again, but brought it back. But yeah, it's just it doesn't. I'm starting to care less about this feud. I just kind of want it to be over and done with, so Hangman Page can resume his quest for the world title, hopefully, eventually. But yeah, I ain't got much to really say. It was just a whatever promo, really, when it shouldn't be, because this is pretty much one of the biggest stories out of the whole show, isn't it? Pretty much.
Yeah. The fact that's the big match they're building for next week.
Yeah,
and of course, Clark, you're going to be there next week. So what did you think of this segment?
I thought that more than anything, it just kind of made me sad, the mic issue, because the story's it writes itself. And two of my favorite performers, I thought they had a slugfest until the issue where Hangman got knocked out the first time. That match was high quality. It's a really good wrestling match. And to see them again, I'm excited about, and having a story where you kind of have two baby faces with almost similar fan bases too. It's hard to navigate, but having the extra layer with the he knocked him out cold part, I'm like, okay, this is really good. And I could totally see where they were going with the segment. The mic cutting is just so brutal for the whole thing, right? The idea, everything about it, the build, it should be two guys that are angry. Moxley goes, look, I didn't mean to injure you, but right, like, you're talking to a guy who's been injured a billion times, and Hangman's going, you could have ended I just had a baby, all this. That all adds up to me, right? The back and forth, that should be able to land. I really think it boils down to what happened with the microphone. I think if they can deliver on the match, all good. We then move along and it's all good. I think it was just one of those unfortunate situations where technical difficulties got in the way of something that could have been one of the more standout segments of the whole show. That's the only part that's frustrating to me, is that, things like that can just happen. And it was also because it's such a passionate promo with Moxley doing the repetitiveness and the cursing, he's so in it. I mean, he had to be jarred himself by the mic going out, right? Just doing your best to handle it. I don't knock him. I don't think he necessarily did anything wrong, right? What can you do there? It's a no-win situation. And what they got out of it, I think, was good enough. I still want to see Hangman Page, John Moxley in an absolute slugfest in the LA Forum, right? It didn't change that. It didn't make me not want to see him wrestle. I'll say that for sure, right? More than anything, it only makes me sad because I think they got to this point in a really cool way to being able to play into what happened in the ring last time, and Hangman recovering from injury, and even in his family stuff last year, being able to pour that kind of passion into the promo. More than anything, it just makes me sad that it was kind of overshadowed by a technical issue.
Yeah. No, and I totally get that. And Souls now saying your thoughts on Acclaim versus Jarrett and Lethal
Yo,
match and false finish. Right, okay, I'm going to be honest, right? The crowd were clearly very into this match.
yo,
Clearly it
no,
was.
no. Sorry, correctly. The crowd was red hot the whole night. I loved
Yeah,
it.
they were, but they were into the Acclaimed, right? And that's
Yeah.
why they were so hot for it. But they were definitely into this match. But here's the issue with it. If you're now suddenly having another referee overruling decisions, why didn't you do that in Omega versus, Moxley versus Omega when they did the microphone thing?
Every MJF match.
Yeah, there's so many times they could have done it, and why you can't just pick and choose
Same
when
with
you do it.
WWE.
It's so
How
dumb.
many times like they just pick and choose whenever they care for. WWE does is just as guilty. So yeah, it's just one of those things. But I get your frustrations on it. But it was scary at the time. I thought they was like, no freaking way are they doing this. And then like obviously you see was it Aubrey Rich? What's the name?
Aubrey Edwards.
Aubrey Edwards obviously trying to talk about it, and you see just Jeff Jarrett proper like just cutting her off and like.
Oh, that was the funniest when he slid over his hip. Oh, I was laughing so hard. That was great.
That was amazing.
That was
Jeff
great.
Jarrett killed it. He's enjoying himself, and I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him. But yeah, obviously they reversed it. Thankfully, wise decision. And yeah, they retained, which I'm very happy for. Yeah, it was cool. It was good. I wasn't really into it until that happened, and I was like, what the hell? And then, but yeah, it was good. It was a nice little twist.
I'm gonna be honest. Yes, it was, I guess, interesting, but like, logically, I can't get past it. You can't just pick and choose when you're gonna, have referees allowed to overrule a decision. It's ridiculous.
I completely understand where
it
you're
makes
coming
no sense. Absolutely none.
I will say this though, Aubrey Edwards is from Seattle, and I wonder if that went into the decision to give her a big spotlight spot in front of the hometown
I'm
crowd.
from Wales. I didn't run in on.
No, I hear you. I just Aubrey referee wise, like victory. I think that was kind of what went into the planning. I'm not saying that I don't, or that I think it was like brilliant or like they did the right thing. I think they were trying to give Aubrey like the full-blown spotlight in front of the hometown crowd because she is pretty over with the AEW fan base. And it's the first time being in Seattle. She's, she talks about all the time on social media, flying all the time from Seattle to Jacksonville during the pandemic. Like it'll be nice to be able to walk her dogs in her hometown this week. That was one of the last things she posted before Dynamite. And so I do think that would be why they did it from a backstage perspective. Did it land? I'm in agreement with you, Allison. Right? Yeah. On that. Did it work? Did it make sense? No. But I think that's why, right?
And Soul's now saying he wants Jeff Jarrett to be champion.
Shut the F up, Soul.
If I ever create a wrestling promotion, you are not bugging it.
No. And exactly. And as soon as that happens, who comes out? All the AEW haters come out. And you're going to stand up against all of them? Because like, they made a TNA guys and they're not bringing up their own homegrown talent. Like, nah. Jeff Jarrett can sit there, collect his paycheck until he retires. Done. It's fine. He doesn't need a title.
He might be the first person to kill 3 promotions.
Well, if you include his dad, family lineage, they're up to like
killed his dad?
6
what?
By now. No, I said if you include his dad, his promotions that he killed, it's like 6 on the whole Jarrett family.
Oh, Jesus.
They've got it's the family
like
legacy.
Parvadak's son.
Yeah.
Don't let him anywhere near your promotion. But yeah, I mean, the one promo segment, which I did like of the night, was the MJF Bryan Danielson segment. And of course, Danielson was obviously out there. MJF then came out with his big gold belt and basically just said that if Danielson wants to challenge him, he's got to win every match for 10 weeks now until Revolution. And if he wins all of them, then he will get a championship chance at Revolution. However, the big thing here is they abandoned the rankings a few months ago, and the rankings are referenced. So again, makes no sense storyline wise. But oh well. I think we're gonna get 10 great Danielson matches, and MJF cut a hell of a promo. Danielson cut a hell of a promo back, and I'm excited. I truly am. And of course, Konosuke Takeshita will be facing Danielson next week, and I think that's going to be a bang of a match. But what did you think about it, Clark?
That was my favorite segment of the night. I thought Danielson was in his total element, because that would be my biggest fear about him on the mic. I think he's really good, but fitting the MJF, the way he worked around that and took the lines that the fans in his own building basically cheered for, that MJF said in the beginning when he was kind of eviscerating him, and then kind of spun him on their heels all the way. I thought it was as good of mic work as we've seen out of Bryan Danielson in a long time. It got me fired up for the match when he had MJF backpedaling towards the stage. And we talked about earlier seeing the commentary area, but the way he kind of had that little back and forth with Taz. Do you see this, Taz? I think he said out of like the side of his mouth, and Taz responded on commentary. That cracked me up. And then the idea of a 60-minute, I love too. He assumed Danielson was looking for no disqualification, so I can just cheat in front of the ref. And then he goes, no, 60-minute Iron Man. I loved the way that presented itself. I think that was kind of brilliant on MJF's part too. He sold that well, like, oh, you're just going to give me the chance to cheat. And it goes, no. I'm going to make you go 60 minutes. The way that he played that was smart. The only thing that's disappointing about it to me is you can't say you're going to have a 60-minute MJF Bryan Danielson Iron Man match and not have one now. So if it doesn't end up going to 10 matches and we don't get Danielson MJF in 60-minute Iron Man, I'm going to be disappointed.
Oh, of course, we're going to get
it. Right. Of course we're going to get it, but also now we know we're going to get it.
That's what I'm saying.
A little bit similar, right? It's a little bit similar to the, now I actually liked the 7-match series with Death Triangle and the Elite, because you didn't necessarily know if they lose the next one until the series was 3-1, right? It wasn't like a series ending. You knew there was room to build along the way. I think the problem with you got to win 10 in a row is everyone's do or die. Mm-hmm. And so that's what makes this one more telegraphed. And that would be the only complaint I have. And I had to really dig deep there for a complaint, because I thought this was definitely the best segment of the night.
Yeah. I think the main issue we have is basically, well, it's like you said, we've got 10 matches now where we know the results are going to happen. We know who's going to win. It's going to be Bryan Danielson every single week. But we've talked about this before. Like, I am not really a fan of Iron Man matches for the most part, as they're long, they're difficult to pull off well.
They take a while to get going. Like,
and they're really predictable.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's gonna be interesting for sure. And I mean, okay, in fairness, I did complain about Starks versus MJF not getting enough time, and now MJF will get an hour. So I can't win them all. In fairness, what did you think, Chaos?
First off, what the hell is MJF? Is he a face or a heel now? Because like that was such a face promo, but he's still coming out of the heel tunnel. I do not like this.
He's a heel.
It's a weird ass tweener shit. I'm not really.
MJF's heel, yeah.
No. I'm talking about Danielson.
Danielson, sorry.
Yeah.
He's a face.
But he came out the heel tunnel.
He was the only one that I think made that mistake, by the way. I noticed the same thing.
He's doing it the whole time.
It's his hometown. I think that might be Danielson either doesn't buy into the concept but I've noticed it too.
I don't think he cares. Yeah, because for weeks he's been like, since he joined the Blackpool Combat Club, he's been doing that anyway. But anyway, regarding the segment, I thought it was fine. It was cool. MJF has had better. But yeah, this whole stipulation, it just feels, we are gonna get that at Revolution. But yeah, this whole stipulation where you have to win 10, I'm not really buy it. All these stipulations, it just makes it feel telegraphed, like the ones that he did with CM Punk, where you had to win against the whole of the Pinnacle. We all know that was going to happen. The one that he did with the seven with Jericho, and he done it with Cody,
Nick Gage and stuff. Yeah, he had to wrestle.
Yeah, it's like I don't like these. It just makes it so predictable, and because eventually they are going to face each other. They could have went a bit better than that. I love Danielson, but I mean, like 10 weeks of matches, like back to back to back to back. I don't know. It's a bit much, and also on top of that, you're gonna get an hour with him and MJF. I think they could have been a bit better. They could have gone this another way, but either way, the Iron Man match is going to be great. I think obviously it will start very slowly. Probably MJF is going to do a lot of low blows and chair shots and stuff, and he's just going to take a couple pins and take advantage of Bryan Danielson's laying carcass. And then I think 5 minutes to go, it's probably going to be 5 apiece or whatever it's going to be. And then and another thing as well, MJF is going to have a long title reign. Again, it's telegraphed. I don't think that Daniel Anderson is going to win. As much as I would love to see him with the title, but I don't think it's going to. It's not his time yet. Not since MJF is. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Because of the contract, I think it is potentially, possibly could lose at any time. Because I think if there's any point in which Tony Khan thinks to himself, I don't think MJF's re-signing here. I think he might have him drop the title. So I think this is a possibility.
Yeah, if he plays like some bullshit game with MJ with Khan saying like I ain't gonna sign out until you give me this, and it's taking long with it, then yeah, just take the title off him. Why not? Be a boss, TK. Don't do the CM Punk thing again. Be a boss and just say like if you're not signing, give me the title. Done.
Yeah, I mean he's still adamant that he's not signing a deal until his contract's done. And
I think he has. To be fair,
he 100% has not. There's nothing.
Right.
There's still nothing.
Maybe.
You think he has as well, Clark?
Not yes. I think maybe. I think maybe even like some sort of handshake agreement, some type of.
And he's a loyal guy.
I don't think that
officially it would have leaked.
I don't think it would have been the way the return happened and the amount of things they've allowed him to say it on television. Hurts your leverage so much. I just don't fathom a scenario where they would give him that much leverage headed into that negotiation without something on the back end.
Well, I think the argument is just because he brings them views. He's like highest.
He definitely does that. He definitely does that.
I think it's just we got to put up with it and then see what happens.
And TK, sorry, just finish up. And TK does love to think that he's like Vince. You know, with Vince, he's that crazy. He will let people shoot on him live on TV, but because he's a billionaire, like he doesn't care. But obviously, yeah, as long as there is leverage that I'm going to get something out of it at the end, then it's fine. So yeah, I think he's definitely, if not a handshake agreement, some decent deal, because he's getting a lot of money right now, definitely. So that's my point.
And then Bell in the comments is saying, I think MJF has already re-signed personally, but I do think he will jump to WWE at some point, but he'll raise his stock a little more first.
Oh yeah.
No, that is true. I think it's inevitable he'll end up in WWE, but of course the 30-year-old thing. I mean, there's gonna be exceptions to that rule. I said it on the Lions of the Republic podcast today about which will be coming out on the YouTube channel next couple of days. That Jay White, I think, would be an exception to that if he was to jump in a couple of years' time. But I think MJF obviously would, even if he was over the age of 30, if he stays in AEW that long anyway. So yeah, I feel like regardless if he signs, it'll happen.
How old was AJ Styles when he signed to WWE? He was quite old.
It's a new policy though. It's only last year that came in. They want everybody on the main roster to They want talent to get on the main roster before they turn 30.
Got it.
So they're building up in NXT before then. But let's go on to the final topic of the day, and that is the main event of AEW Dynamite, where Darby Allin defeated Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship. And what happened this time last week? I was saying, when I was talking about Samoa Joe retaining, I said, in fairness to them, at least they're not hot potatoing the title anymore. Boy, was I wrong. A week later, Darby Allin wins it. I didn't even know what to start with.
You don't agree with this just because of the hot potato.
Yeah, no, that is what it's not just because of that, but I feel like the entire reason they put it on Joe in the first place was confusing to me, and now they're making him seem like monster with multiple titles or whatever. Okay, but then they're just ending it. It's like they can't make a consistent champion with this title. They hot potato it no matter who it's. It's just it's frustrating. It really, really is. But what do you think, Chaos?
I mean, it was a nice surprise. Darby Allin, to be fair, he was probably the last person I think that would guess to actually get it back. I agree, giving it to Samoa Joe. I think that was just for shock value. Nothing's really gonna come out of this, but yeah, this title has not been the same since Cody left. To be fair, since Cody left, this title has not been the same. So yeah, I just don't think they have any consistency or any plans for it. The only consistent title so far that they have is the All Atlantic Championship, and right now, yeah, I'm happy for Darby, but right now I could care less. Right now I don't know who could actually take it off him. Like maybe Jeff Jarrett. You might get your wish sold. Maybe Jeff Jarrett might be the next person to take it off him, because right now I don't know what they're doing with that title. It's weird.
Don't give them any ideas, please don't.
I mean, I found it interesting. Darby's another Seattle kid. It's another hometown.
Oh yeah, they did it for hometown.
They put over everybody in the hometown. I don't know if there was anything to that other than just for the moment, because Seattle fans, they call the Seahawks fans the 12th man, right, in football, because of how loud that stadium is and how loud Seattle crowds are.
They do it all the time. They did it with Thunder Rosa. So,
right. And so to try to get that type of pop in that setting, being it their first time in the Pacific Northwest, I understand that. I also understand where you're coming from on the hot potatoing thing, Ben. I think I'm glad, actually, though, that they gave it back to someone that's held it before, as opposed to crowning a new champion in that slot over Joe. I think that would have been even more hot potato-y, and I would be complaining even more than I am right now. I like Darby Allin, and I thought the moment was cool. I thought the confetti was cool. I thought Sting coming out to hug him in the ring in Seattle, it was kind of a culmination of Darby's, right? That might have been actually, even though the first TNT title you would assume would be the biggest moment of his career, that might have actually been the biggest in front of his hometown moment of his whole career. And I think that part of it was cool enough. Where they go from here, that's what I'm most concerned with. Yeah. Because I don't want to see a Darby Joe rematch. Not in the least. I want Joe to settle his stuff. Win it back. I want Joe to settle his stuff with Wardlow's ponytail. I mean, they broke the hearts of every female AEW fan on the planet. He cut off the top knot. That's a game changer. And so let's see that rivalry, and then let's have Darby figure out some other challenger for the TNT title and run that rivalry next and do that. I would prefer not to see a rematch on this one, not to see any kind of grudge between those two.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good.
They're facing each other at Battle of the Belts, I think.
Are they?
Yeah, I think they are.
Rematch.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a rematch.
Over with.
If that's true, then I guess we're seeing a new TNT champion, because they're gonna hot potato it again for sure. I mean, the entire Joe having it, honestly, they were starting to build it up again. They really were for Joe being the champion, and if he got another victory over the Wardlow, or even Wardlow won it back, it would have made sense. Now it's just you're hot potatoing it for no point. It's just now the ROH TV title looks weak too. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't know why they keep putting themselves in this decision with this stupid booking. And Belle here's in the comments back and she's saying, couldn't they wait till Revolution, which I won't be watching live because I ain't staying up till 6 and 7 o'clock in the morning.
Understandable for 12 matches. Yeah,
totally
I
get that.
I totally get it.
I get knackered after each one.
In terms of Wait Till Revolution, it's not it wouldn't be as impactful as it would be in his hometown. Simple as, because it's in San Fran, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like the Cow Palace. So, yeah, it's Cow Palace.
So yeah, they just did it for just the fact that it's in his hometown and it's pretty much one of the most loyal OGs of AEW. Is it still smart? Is it right thing to do? No. But yeah, that's TK for you. That's what I can say, man. He does not care. It's slowly starting to feel like the Intercontinental title when Vince was around, where it's just an afterthought. It's weird. And like I said, the most consistent title that's getting a lot of love so far out of all of them, besides the world title, is the All Atlantic title. So what does that say? And that's a joke title right now. Right now, that title is a joke title.
Somebody's asking here, do we have hotels in London booked? No,
that's a good question. That is smart.
That's a good question. We'll be working on that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be. I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of hotels in London though too, and it's only 20,000. I actually don't think it'd be that much of an issue, if I'm being completely honest. But
it depends.
You still want to get that early.
If he has a deal, you go ahead and let us know in the DMs.
Yeah. Let us know if you do know any good places. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching. It's been a great episode today. And we'll be back. We'll be back again same time tomorrow, and then on Saturday I think there might be a time change, but we'll get it sorted and we'll let you know. Always keep your eye on the Wrestling Public Instagram. It's where we announce it every day and what time it'll be up on the Instagram stories. So just make sure you have our story notifications turned on, or Just, subscribe, turn on notifications on YouTube, and you'll get notified as soon as we go live every time. So, but anyway, everybody, thank you for listening, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Thanks
Peace.
so much, guys.